Hey, I'm Coach Ryan Fowler. Today we're going to talk about something called the Emery and Henry formation, otherwise known as the monster formation. Let's film study. So this is from Super Bowl 59, Eagles Chiefs. We have a first down and 10, right? And we have the Eagles are in 11 personnel. We have a tight end down here at the bottom and a running back in the backfield. So that's 11 personnel. Now, this is probably a formation you either haven't seen or aren't very familiar with, but there's some really interesting features about it. One of those things is that when we count who's eligible, it's not altogether intuitive. Okay, so in this case, the rules that make someone eligible as a receiver is they are either the end man on the line of scrimmage or they're in the backfield. Okay, those two rules are really the only two that apply in identifying eligible receivers. All right, so if we count the guys that are on the line of scrimmage here, we have a problem. The Eagles only have 6 guys on the line of scrimmage. As a rule, any offensive formation must have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. All right. So we've got the tight end down here is on the line of scrimmage. Mailata is on the line of scrimmage. These 3 offensive linemen are on the line of scrimmage, so that's 5. And then we have this tackle on the line of scrimmage, but this receiver is off. Now, I don't know if the refs just didn't catch this or if they told him he was on, and it's hard to see from this angle, but it's hard to tell whether his head is breaking the plane of the center's hips. And so that's really the necessary condition in order to be considered on the line of scrimmage is does his helmet break the center's plane of his hips? Okay, so to me this is an illegal formation. However, if it was not an illegal formation and this guy was on the ball as intended, then this would be 1 eligible here and 1 down here because they are the last men on the line of scrimmage. Then this receiver would be eligible and this receiver would be eligible along with the back. All right. So from that perspective, it's really not that strange of a formation. It's actually, you could treat this as a normal spread formation with very, very wide B gaps, right? The gap between the guard and the tackle is just really, really wide. Now, typically you would do this to cause a little confusion on the defense, and I think they probably did some of that, but there's no other real advantage to this if you're just going to run the ball inside, which they do. So let's take a look at this play. All they end up doing is what's basically amounts to an inside zone with a wind back by the running back. And it's pretty ineffective and very uneventful. You can see that out here on the perimeter, nobody's even doing anything, right? Some of the guys are kind of walking off the line. Nobody's expecting a pass. This seems to just be a wasted play. I'm not sure why they did it. But if we're counting the numbers of guys in different areas of the field, up here we have three offensive players and really only 1 guy that's out wide enough to do anything about it. All right, we have a defensive end here who's essentially a 3 technique because he's in between the guard and the tackle, right? But he's a B gap player, being that this is this huge B gap here. All right, so he's not going to get over here in any reasonable amount of time if they threw a screen out here to this receiver. And this player here probably isn't going to get there either. All right. Now on the inside, we've got 1, 2, 3 linemen and 2 defensive linemen. So that's got numbers, but Bolton is also in the box. So that's essentially 3 on 3, but we have these 2 perimeter players too, which are basically the defensive ends. All right. So if we look at this from the other angle, we essentially have 2 A gap players here. All right, Bolton is basically just dead center, right? He's in what we probably call a 0-0 stack. All right. Now look, there's no rhyme or reason to this. There is no number advantage for the offense to run this play. It seems like a waste to me. They might have been checking to see what the Chiefs would do in terms of where they would line up. But Bolton becomes the B gap player here. But there's another B gap player out here, and they're running the ball in the B gap. So there's at least 2 defenders in that B gap assigned to that B gap, and they run it there anyway. So I'm not sure why they would do this in the Super Bowl and just kind of waste it down like that. But like I said, they might just be trying to check to see what the Chiefs would line up in because they had other plays that could take advantage of some other alignment they might have gotten in. All right. Okay, so what we just saw was a really unorthodox formation. Again, it's called the Emery and Henry formation. Madden calls it the monster or monster stack formation. But the point of showing that was that offenses can often line up in unorthodox formations to try to throw defenses off. Even if there's no real advantage to the formation, it might just be there for smoke and mirrors, basically to confuse the defense, to kind of get them on their heels. But it also could be just to check to see what the defense would do in a situation, so that if they did have another play that was effective against a different defensive look, then they could run it later. For more film study videos, check out the link in the description. Till next time.